Hello, it's Barb, and I have a treat for you today. I'm with one of my favorite people on the planet. Her name is Audrey Griffin, and she's in the Cowgirl Hall of Fame. And Tom, my husband, and I have the honor to be visiting her in Santa Ynez, California. So I'm taking this opportunity to introduce her to you. So I think that the best thing for me to do is to say, welcome, Audrey.
Thank you, Barbara.
And I just thought you could just kind of briefly give us a little background, tell your story, because you're much better at that than me.
Okay. Well, first of all, uh, my family, my mom and dad were great parents, and we had such a wonderful, loving home life. And from the time I was a baby, my mother said that I would get so excited when we drove by the pony rides. And they would have to stop and give me a pony ride. And I still have the same excitement now. I mean, when I drive by and see horses, there's just a certain excitement that I have that's wonderful. But my father, when I was 11 years old, took me to Sunset Ranch in Culver City, California, to ride horses. And a little girl by the name of Sis Smith, she was 10 years old, took us up the trail. Sis Smith is now Z Varian, married to Jack Varian, and they have a ranch in the Varian Ranch outside of Paso Robles in Parkfield. And we had such a beautiful hour ride with Sis that she invited me back the next day. She said, "And tell your parents not to pick you up until 5 o'clock." So that was the beginning of my experience with horses and my best friend Sis, and so it's every summer, all weekend, every year. She taught me how to ride, how to Roman ride, how to tie a bowline. I drove hay wagons for 7 years, and it was just we had Roman riding races at the
Let's talk a
rodeo.
little bit about this Roman riding.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Roman
So that's
riding.
what she's famous for. Just want you to know.
Well, she said, Audrey, after a couple months, she said, "Audrey, you want a Roman ride?" And I said, "Well, what's that?"
I think you need to tell us all what Roman riding is.
Well, she said, "That's when you stand on two horses and lope around and jump logs." And I said, "Oh, okay, I'd like to try that."
Uh huh.
So I helped her rig up the team, and she rode around in a couple circles, and she jumped the log, and she said, "Okay, now it's your turn." So I said, "Oh, okay." So being 11 years old, you can do everything. And I got on and I loped around just like she said, and I jumped the log, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, I think I really like this."
You were hooked.
I was hooked. And so then after a while, we had backyard rodeos, and we were the featured act of the Roman
Oh,
riding race. So we would race every Sunday during the summer months, and she always won because she was riding two little quarter horses, and I was riding the team that I drove hay wagons with. They were big and slow. So
uh-huh.
this one time I said, "I want to trade you teams just for one time."
Uh-huh.
And of course I won,
Uh-huh.
and that made me feel really good.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
then you went on to travel, kind of skipping ahead a little bit. You went on to travel throughout the United States and Canada.
Right.
And tell us about at the height of your act with a wilderness uh, show. You need to say the name of the show, but what was your act and what was the show?
The act was called the Flying Valkyries, and it was a Roman riding jumping act. And we carried 7 white horses We used 6 in the act. There were 3 girls. Would each come in on 2 horses, run around the arena with a smile, of course. And then 2 of us would hook up 3 horses, and then we would, uh, jump, of course, and do a crossfire jump. That's horses are coming toward each other. And that was quite a nice look and kind of very pleasing for the audience. And then we would hook up 5 horses, and I would jump 5 horses.
You
And that
were
was,
on the backs of 2, and you had 5 jumping.
yeah, but I put my left foot on the second horse and my right foot on the fourth horse. I'd straddle the middle horse.
I see.
And then that was for the first act. And then the second act, we would put a 6 up together. And you stand on the wheeler horses, which would be the back horses, and would go through barrels, and then would jump jumps on each side of the arena. And that was quite spectacular because sometimes things didn't go always correct. It was very exciting for the audience and exciting for my parents that were watching me
I bet.
with my team run away with me toward the rim rocks in Billings, Montana. And I could hear the announcer say, "Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, she'll be back. She's a cowgirl." So by the time I stopped the horses and came around and toward the arena and back in front of the crowd, I brought the audience to their feet.
I bet you did.
Yeah, it was very exciting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it was good.
Well, Audrey, one of the things I wanted to ask you is that, I know that for myself and for some of the people who may be watching this, is that, it's not always so much fun and games as we get older. And I know that you are continuing to ride a lot.
Right.
And and we were talking this morning at breakfast, which was really
Right.
fun, about how you see that and what's important to you to sustain your riding, and just talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, everything was okay until I turned 80. And I mean, I never had problems getting on my horses or doing anything, saddling or whatever. But when I turned 80, I could feel my my energy and my muscles ebb a little bit. So I decided, the first time I had a problem getting on, I thought, okay, I've got to do something about this, because my passion is riding, and that's all I want to do is ride, 4 or 5 days a week or so, gathering cattle and helping people on their ranches. And so I thought, I'm going to start exercising. So I exercise my upper body by doing push-ups, like from my knees, and stretching and leg lifts, and I mean, you name it, any exercise that I can do, and to keep my body in good shape as well, especially the knees. I have to stretch out my knees real good to keep my knees healthy. And of course, a good diet always helps.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to take care of your body, because if you don't, you only have one.
Yes.
If you don't, you won't be able to do anything.
Yes. Yes. That's awesome advice. And so, I'm sure that you, like all of us, have had setbacks and things that have happened along the way, because that's just how life is. So how do you overcome hurdles and?
Well, somehow I think those hurdles could be God-given, and I thought, I've just got to work through it. I got to get over it. Just work through it and make it happen for myself the best way I can. But you have to do the right thing in life, and it's important to just important to do the right thing. live by the golden rule and treat your body like a temple, and it works.
Yes. And one of the things that I want to ask you that I really loved that you said this morning was about, we were talking about sometimes we feel we grieve a little bit, like you maybe have that vision of being astraddle two horses but having six horses going over jumps in a race, which I can't, imagine doing that. I mean, I can imagine it, but anyway, but of course that's not exactly what you're doing now. And how your joy, and you said something really cool this morning about helping, about on the ranches.
Oh, well, you know, when you feel as though your life isn't going the way you want it to, the way I treat it is I want to do something positive for somebody else. So I'm fortunate enough to be invited on a lot of different cattle ranches to help out with their brandings and the gathering and the sorting and the roping, and it's so much fun for me. And the ranchers enjoy it so very much. But the more I give, the better I feel.
So there's that same joy.
That's joyful. For me to give is for me to live in a very correct way. Yeah.
Well, thank you. So this is my angel friend, and she always dresses in white.
I do.
She's my hero, and we love your story, and we love your tips, and we appreciate you being with us.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you, Barbara.
Okay.
God bless.